Hello, welcome to another essay discussion for 1060. What we're looking at tonight then is now essay 2, the ethnographic argument. So the page specifications, of course, are, mostly the same. It's 4 pages this time, of course, not including, title page and citation page. Type, double space, 1 inch margins, 12-point font, Times New Roman, then proper MLA or APA format. And again, I can only accept these files. And so far, that's not been a problem with this class. Every time you submitted homework, it's been through the proper document styles and file. So, the due date, Monday, February 16th, 2015, 8 o'clock in Blackboard. You're going to interview a minimum of 4 people. Don't really go overboard. Your maximum, I would suggest, would be 6 people. You must provide the transcripts, surveys, or recorded files. So if you use an MP3, if you do it face-to-face, if you use your phone, and it should turn into an MP3. I could download an MP3 through Blackboard. Again, if you handwrite your notes, just scan them in and attach them as a separate document. Or if you just use email, just copy and paste in a Word document, whatever easier. But I definitely want the recorded comments, whether they're written out, typed out, or recorded. And as I said, you will be able to upload numerous documents in Blackboard. So what the assignment entails: you will conduct research that synthesizes an ethnographic group, then write an essay that compares and contrasts each person's high school experience. What was each person's general high school experience like? Oh, we got a little question here. No. Oh, I'm actually glad you said that. No, you cannot interview people in this class. Yeah. You definitely have to use that outside of class. That's a great question. No, so do not interview people in this class. Make it friends and family outside of class. And you know what? I'll specify that for other people. Great. Yeah, thanks for asking that question. So what you want to do is, and again, these are just base questions. You obviously you need to come up with many more questions. But how well, did high school prepare them for college or the world beyond? Investigate and analyze what factors may contribute to each person's response and experience. Use your research, and this is where the argument comes in. Use your research to argue whether secondary education is an important or necessary stage in a person's maturity, development, and life. Moreover, especially if they are recent high school graduates, right, should any aspect be changed in any way, or should the institution remain the same? Feel free to interview friends and family, but as I just mentioned, do not interview people in this class. If your interview subjects went to high school in different years or decades, you certainly should compare and contrast any striking similarities or differences. Again, you could really focus on a variety of groups. You could do all male, all female, a mix. You could do all religion, all non-religion. You could do, again, years. You could do private versus public. All sorts of parameters. So feel free to really experiment. While this essay is an argument, again, this is be careful though. Do not judge the group itself, right? Don't judge the people. You want to evaluate the high school experience. So your evaluative argument should be about high school as an institution, right, rather than applying any of those evaluations to anyone in the group. Furthermore, and this is going to be very important when you write up your essay, again, remember, never use first person pretty much. So what you want to do is treat each interviewee as a source. So you wouldn't say, after going to the library, I found an essay that says blank, 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 right? Same thing. Avoid drawing attention to your interview process. So don't state that you interviewed people or you're structuring your paragraph like a Q&A dialogue. So don't use phrases such as, after interviewing 4 people, or she responded to this question by, or Marie, the first interviewee, stated so-and-so. What you want to do is, again, treat this like you would any regular essay. So go back to essay 1, right? You didn't say, after going to the library or after using the databases, I found this information, right? So each person's response is just another form of evidence, another way to prove your argument. So again, it goes back to this basic argument is, is high school helpful, hurtful? Is high school an important part of people's lives, and why so? Or how so? And so on. And so you really want to focus on that. Don't draw attention to the interview process, and that's going to be very important with the writing of that. Well, no, and ideally, the question is, do we need to use all of the information? No, ideally, and we'll talk about this more on Friday, but you should ask basically like 20 questions at least, trying to get the best information possible. And same thing, like I said, treat them like a source. You can't use everything that's in the essay, so you shouldn't use everything that's in the interview. You should only use the specific topics that are relevant to the issue. So that's a good question, but again, you just use common sense in that way. And again, that's why I say treat them like a regular source, which they are. Even though and again, this goes back to the evidence lecture. They are first-hand sources, right? Not second-hand sources. And so, in this case, again, just use, the information that's pertinent. Same thing applies as I discussed earlier. If they said something awesome, well then directly quote them. If they're not really saying anything in an articulate or interesting manner, well then just paraphrase them. So again, everything that you would do for a regular essay source, you should use, all the kind of instincts you have and incorporations you do for a paragraph, same apply to the sources. Now, you'll get used to my grading scale once I finish with essay 1, but the grading scale is the same. So again, just pay attention to these parameters here. And then, of course, if every time it's late, 10 points, and then you lose 1 point for any mistake outlined on the revision checklist. And then, of course, if you need this in alternative format, please contact me or the DSS office. And obviously, if you have any questions, always email.